Good morning. All is good. Like the three idiots. All is well. All is well. Yes. I was invited to act in the three idiots when they were shooting. You know this? They invited. No, they invited, but somehow I did not. Because I don't want to become too famous. Oh yeah, today is the last day of this particular retreat. But in terms of doing good things, it should not be the last. We keep on doing things. As Shantideva himself says that life is short and there are too many things to do. And we do not understand one is milk or water. We should take only those that is really useful in life. There's so many things to do in this world, but you don't need to do so many things. Do those things which will bring you material needs because you need that. And more important than that is the spiritual practice. Yesterday, I had a very fruitful meeting with all the scholars, Ladakh, the topmost Ladakh scholars. So I went to Leh, very nice dinner was arranged, and we had a very fruitful discussion about what to do for the future generation, how to preserve the culture, religion, language, and so forth. So I told them very proudly, I told them, we are really very impressed by the young Ladakhi students. Like you. I had spent 4 days with the previous group, where there were 110. Now your group, which is 120 or something. I'm really impressed. You are well educated, you are disciplined and happy. Them that is the responsibility of the generation, guide the young generation in the right path and to support the initiatives like the Flowering Dharma's initiative. That's important, very important. While we need material facilities, but material facility alone will not give you long-lasting stability. That is 100% sure. If you want to sign, I'll put my signature. Right? Right? Again, as Shantideva says, even though we all want happiness, but we destroy our own happiness. We destroy the causes of our own happiness as if they were our enemies. So we have this wish to shun suffering. Unfortunately, keep on chasing suffering because we're not so sure we are aware of the importance of long-lasting happiness, and especially young people like you. You are very intelligent, you are very bright, but you don't have much life experience. And even those people who don't have any spiritual teaching, but their life's experience tells them, be patient. The best way to live a happy life in this world is to live in harmony without making unnecessary division and segregation. I give such told short, stupid. As I told you earlier, the law of nature does not make distinction. It is us, the stupid human beings, we make distinction because our mind is narrow, right? So it's important to develop a perspective. We are all this small planet, small earth. At the most you can move if you are not so happy here, at the most you can move to America, right? And there is no guarantee that you will get there, no then after a while, thank you. So grass is always green on the other side. It's always green on the other side. So wherever you go, if you go there with this frame of mind, you cannot be happy. Wherever you go, if you have the right frame of the mind, harmoniously, you will be happy. Wherever you go, right? So therefore, I want you to write down something, few things. Chapter 6, I'll just read some quotations which may be very useful for you. Do not get with people or situations, both awareness or your reaction. Do not get upset with people or situations, both are powerless because of your reaction. Both are powerless without your reaction. Number two, a moment of patient, in a moment of anger, a moment of patience in a moment of anger saves you 100 moments of regret. Good character will give you respect. Good character will give you respect. Knowledge will give you power, but good character will give you respect. Hmm? Done? Done. Knowledge will give you power, but good character will give you respect. Okay. No beauty parlor can make you beautiful. Please stop. No beauty parlor can make you beautiful. Full stop. It is your character what makes you beautiful. Done. No beauty parlor can make you beautiful. Full stop. It is your character what makes you beautiful. Next. Your diet is not only what you eat, full stop. Your diet is not only what you eat, stop. It is what you watch, comma, what you listen to, comma, what you read, comma, and the people you hang around. Your diet is not only what you eat, full stop. It is what you watch, comma, what you listen to, comma, what you read, comma, the people you hang around. Done? Done? Your diet is not only what you eat, full stop. Is what you watch, comma, what you listen to, comma, what you read, comma, you hang around. And the last line, there are so many, but I just want a negative mind, a negative mind, negative mind will never give you a positive life. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. A negative mind will never give you a positive. But this is short pithy wisdom, so powerful, so powerful. A negative mind will never give you a positive. So powerful, right? Chapter 6, patience. Whatever wholesome deeds, whatever good deeds, such as venerating the Buddha and generosity that have been amassed over 1,000 ones, will all be destroyed in one moment of anger. This does not mean literally some good deeds that you do with both with perfect wisdom, some with method without wisdom, things like that. So many different types, and then some good deeds that you do physically, verbally, some you do mentally. So those good deeds that you've done, not in a perfect way, and especially if it is a good deed done by the body and the speech, it can be destroyed by anger. But if it's done nicely, perfectly with your mind, it is not destroyed so easily like that. So don't get discouraged. Okay. There is no evil like hatred. See, you use the word hatred, not anger, right? There is no evil like hatred and no fortitude like patience. Thus, I should strive in various ways to meditate on patience. There is no evil like hatred means in terms of destroying all your virtuous deeds and projecting you into the hell. Hatred, there is no evil deed like hatred. Hatred can really hell. That hatred, there is no other practice. Because of this, you should repeatedly practice patience through various means, which we will discuss later on. Now, for example, if my mind will not experience peace if it fosters painful thoughts of hatred. I shall find no joy or happiness, unable to sleep. I shall feel unsettled. So that means if you're angry, if you have hatred, will you be able to enjoy that? No. Will you be able to sleep peacefully? No. Will you gain stability? Physical stability, no, you start shaking, right? You start shaking. Is there anybody who right in the morning says, today I will get angry? Is there anybody who right in the morning makes a plan saying that today I'll get angry? No. But somehow, in the course of the day, you encounter also healthy situations, you meet troublesome people, then you get upset and pick a fight. And having fought with somebody at the close of the day, when you reflect that in the day you fought with somebody, then is there anybody who says that I really fought with somebody, so I really enjoyed the day? Is there anybody? That's it. And then I told you earlier, if you're not angry, if you're peaceful, if you're compassionate, you don't have to use any of this oil unless for medical purposes. Buddha, I think, did not use. His Holiness Dalai Lama is not very handsome. When there is calmness and peace inside, there will be proper flow of energy. There will be proper flow of blood. There will be proper distribution and circulation of blood. Blood will be circulated all over your body, including your face. When the blood is circulated in the face, you become radiant. Because of lack of calmness and peace, energy circulation is not proper, blood circulation not proper, then that's how much you anoint yourself with all kind of heavy cosmetics, costly cosmetics. It's of no use. It's only unnecessarily expensive. You should present yourself as you are, right? Rather than pretending to be some cosmetics. I mean, I am not completely against it, but you got the point, right? I shall, I shall feel unsettled. You see, a master who has hatred, danger of being killed, even by those who, for their wealth and happiness, depend upon his kindness. Your servant, servant may be dependent on you for the wealth, for the happiness, for the kindness. Master may be provide giving you certain and all those things, but still, if the master is very angry, not only the servants will like their master, but will that servants might kill the master. We have heard many stories like that. And by it, that means by hatred, friends and relatives are disheartened. Though drawn by generosity, they will not trust me. In brief, they will live happily with who lives happily with him, as I already mentioned. Hence, the enemy anger creates suffering such as this. Hence, the enemy anger creates suffering such as this, but whoever assiduously overcomes it finds happiness now and hereafter. I mean, if you think about the countless conflicts and these are all due to anger and hatred, leading to loving kindness and compassion. Because it is the job of anger and hatred to divide people, eliminate, comparing to their attachment. Because attachment says come close. But
But the problem is,
again,
again, as I mentioned, with attachment,
you get
you get
obsessed
obsessed
with
with
it.
it. So,
One
one,
repels one, in both the cases you are made helpless. Your freedom is snatched, right? Hence, the enemy anger creates suffering such as this, but who, oh, I already read it. And how does anger or hatred arise? Having found its fuel of mental unhappiness, in the prevention of what I wish for and in the doing of what I do not want, hatred increases and then destroys me. So anger or hatred arise with certain food. The food is unhappiness. If you're unhappy, then you develop hatred. If you're unhappy, then you get angry. So therefore, what you should do, never give food to the, which means never become unhappy. Never become unhappy. So, so repeatedly you should say, whatever may come, I will not make my done, but whatever comes. And you can actually do it. Through practice, you can do it. You can do it. Because the so-called suffering and problem, they never stay all the time. And the so-called suffering problem is also, in many cases, not necessarily suffering and problem. It is how you see things, basically in your suffering and hatred and anger arises because when people do something which you don't like, or when people obstruct what you like, then you get angry and upset. This is what this text is saying. For example, like when somebody harms you, harms your harms you, somebody who has harmed you in the past, who is harming you right now, who will harm you in the future, you get upset. Somebody who has harmed your wealth, harming your wealth, will harm your wealth, then you get upset. Somebody who has harmed my friends, relatives, and parents in the past, they are harming right now, they will harm them, then you get upset. Contrarily to the enemy, if you see somebody helping your enemy, somebody who has helped your enemy, you will somebody who is helping your enemy right now, you get angry. And there is a likelihood of that person enemy in the future, you get right. Because that once they find this uneasiness or unhappiness of the mind as food, then hatred becomes stronger. And then it destroys you. It destroys you. How it destroys you? You might think it does not destroy me. It destroys my enemy. You might think when somebody hits you, then you get angry. Then you think that it is anger that has helped me, right? Because when you get angry, you get some extra energy. Because of this, that extra energy, you're able to say something which you could not say before. You are able to energy. So it is unsure whether this anger or hatred will hit the target. On the other hand, you can develop even more forceful positive energy through which you can give a befitting reply to the world. Now look at demonstrate something. If somebody harms you, one way of doing is you should also get angry. How dare you do this? And you're trying to be good, right? But in this process, you're already mad. Your capacity to judge between what is right and what is wrong is lost. So you will not be able to hit the target. If you want to hit the stick, you might hit it to someone else. You'll get into a big problem. But the other way of doing it, instead of getting angry if somebody says nasty things, then you sit there smiling. Do you think what you are doing is right?
Okay, okay, okay. Listen, what the nasty things that other person is saying. Ah, that's.
More the smile. Have you seen, these leaders on the stage using fist and fighting? Have you seen? Their own enemy, whole own enemy. The leaders sitting there enjoying it and saying very great things to increase our business relationship, right? So with this smile, there are different types of smile. One is ordinary smile, gentle smile. Another is sarcastic smile. Ah, okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sarcastic smile. Another is politician smile, right? But it depends. In some countries, the leaders, when they get really, inside, they really get upset and angry, then start dancing, almost like dancing. They move up and down, which means they are really getting angry, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're able to maintain your composure, because of your less negative reaction, they will, on the one hand, come down, hopefully, come down a little bit. But in this, you will be able to live by feeling that way. Because you're calm, right? If it's just saying nonsense, you should ignore it. Otherwise, if you're saying something that is trying to take you to the board and whatever these things, busyness, if you don't answer, it talk with calm mind, saying this, you can take a big thing with it. But all this needs training. Therefore, I should totally eradicate the food of this enemy. Enemy is no other than that of causing. In the case of human enemy, if harming you, they have some purpose for them. But this, they, did I use these lines? Go on, gone are the days. Did I use the destroyed me? Now I know who you. Did I say this? Previous group I said I'm mixing. In this group, did I say this? Okay. So I will give opportunity chance to the negative emotion. Thing here. Whatever befalls me, I shall not disturb my mental joy. That's the point. It's negative emotion disturb your mind. Your mind is disturbed. Then you can never be happy. Then you cannot study. Then you cannot plan, right? So always make sure that nobody disturbs you. In which I have already written, give you some wisdoms already you've written. If you don't react, others' anger are powerless. Already written. Many times we suffer because we react, right? Whatever befalls me, I shall not disturb my mental joy. For having been made unhappy, I shall, because if you become unhappy, I will not accomplish what I wish, and my virtue will decline. Now, this is the punchline. The next verse is the punchline, really. Why be unhappy about something if it can be remedied or changed? What is the use of being unhappy about something if it cannot be remedied? That means if you have already lost your left leg, if you had lost your left leg, then there are two ways of dealing with it. One is For the rest of your life, you feel miserable. I am most unfortunate person. See, all these people have left leg or left hand. All these people have left hand. I don't. So unfortunate. For the rest of your life, you keep on thinking about it, you feel miserable and sad. So what is this? By thinking like that, the left hand will not come and join you, right? So instead of that, you think positively. I don't have a left hand, but I have a right hand, which does most of writing, more powerful, right? And how many people are there who had lost both the hands? And how many more are there who have lost both the hands and both the legs? So compared to that, I'm really lucky, right? Have you seen those Paralympics? People without proper leg, proper hand, like competing, like anybody. So if you maintain the determination, you will be able to do it, right? ठीक है. For myself and for my friends, so the next is identifying the objects towards which you should maintain patience. So this is basically I have explained earlier. For myself and for my friends, I want no suffering, not disrespect. When somebody creates suffering, disrespect, use harsh word, right? And nothing unpleasant, then you get upset. But for my enemies, it is the opposite, which I already explained. The cause of happiness, and also it is important to maintain happiness in the mind because now this is talking about meditation on patience. Somebody creates suffering upon you. When somebody creates suffering upon you, then you should think like this. The cause of happiness sometimes occur. The causes for suffering are very many. Without suffering, there is no appreciation. Therefore, mind you should stand. So that means like unless I face some challenges, I will never grow. So therefore, suffering is good. Challenges are good. That's what he's saying, right? Because since you very often get these problems and difficulties, unless you have the right frame of mind how to deal with it, you will continue to succeed. And the next line means next verses it talks about that is studying from this text. It talks about how to develop patience where you voluntarily welcome suffering. Voluntarily welcome suffering. Yep. Suffering, so I should learn how to deal with it. That's what we already read. And especially in the case of this practice, if you don't have sense of suffering, then you will never think about achieving liberation. For example, in Ladakh, in Day, in your family or in your community or in Leh, if you're facing so many problems, then this will cause you to leave Ladakh or leave Leh and go to somewhere else. Renunciation. If you're happy, you will not think about moving to some other place. There is a beautiful stanza by Aryadeva in his 400 verses. Very, very famous text. One of my favorite texts, 400 verses. So there Aryadeva says, Kanglan, did you remember? Tell you Kangla, Kalayu. Ramchim, then that means somebody who is will never show. And it gives example. Right. So therefore, it is important that everything's bad. It's not like that, but you should see the limitation, the problems, the sufferings, and then try to come up with a solution. Temporary solution, long-term solution. Long-term solution is nirvana enlightenment. Temporary solution is developing more ethics, harmony, respect, and make this very life meaningful. Right? So even to make this very life meaningful, you should be happy every day. Whatever you encounter, it's possible. Yes, yes, these things possible. I'm not Buddha. I'm not in Nirvana. I'm in samsara. And people surrounding me are also samsara with negative mind conditions. Right? So it is possible. It's okay. Like if you're surrounded by smoke, you will hear fighting and crying. Right? But you will not be upset by that. But instead you try to find the solution. Right? Similar like that. And in general, you said that in this world you will not solve a lot of problems. For example, if some ascetics endure the pain of cuts and burns for no reason, then for the sake of liberation, I no courage. Why I have no courage? Meaning that it is said that ascetic, it used the word ascetic. Ascetic basically means those who follow, those who follow, those who follow the paths of Shiva. That is the Chandi follow Chandi, sort of Shiva, right? So they are very help from a higher place on or as a fire offering, they jump into the fire and commit suicide. It actually is a story. And then in Karnataka, here Karnataka, but it is Karnataka. In Karnataka, then some practitioners they wish to actualize Brahma state of Brahma, and when the sun and the moon eclipses, then either they will behead themselves or they will fight among each other and burn each other and cut each other. So by doing so, you are not going to get from Buddhism, right? So in some aspects, and the people of who endure the pain of cards and liberation, why have I no courage? Just making unnecessary sacrifice, you samsara from suffering. Yeah, consort, 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 consort. In the Buddhist text, it says consort, but consort is actually Uma, right? Uma Devi. But in the Sanskrit text also they use the name Chandi, probably it's another name of Uma Devi. I don't know. Right? Then you might say, ah, it is important to do the practice, but it's not easy. It's many, many years back, many students giving teaching to a group of people um, in the temple in Sala. It is many, many years back, more than 40 years back. I was then, of course, not his holiness translator, so I really enjoy teaching, take notes, and if this it's maybe. So during the question answer session, one lady got up and said, "Your Holiness, your teaching is very good, but in the West we have no time to, you know." What His Holiness said? His Holiness said, "It's up to you whether you want to practice or not." So when he said, "You're a little bit blunt," but he was really on the secondary place, blunt. He was saying the right. If you want to practice Dharma or not, if it seems important to practice Dharma, you have to find time. It is a common sin in Western other developed countries, even when they're running in the trends everywhere, on one hand, another hand, maybe burgers, eat, you see. And similarly, people really who are interested in singing and dancing. One, one monk in my institute, Tibetan monk. He's a monk, but he's not allowed. But he has his guitar always sitting under his bed, and whenever he finds time, so you find time. You find time. So when you say, I saying two things. One, I'm not interested. Second, this is not my top priority. I'll do it later on when I find some time. That is our tendency. So you should see this as actually every day, you know, some practice every day. That's very, very important. And don't say difficult. There's nothing called difficult unless if you get habituated, everything is easy. Remember the days when you don't even know how to spell ABCD, how much you struggled. Now, where are you? Hello? Where are you? You did your BA, did your MA, did your PhD, and I don't know how many other skills you picked up. You should look. All this clearly shows that habituated, easy. In order to get habituated in Buddhist practice, the first thing that you need to do is you need to like it. You have to have some delight in what you're going to do. Many have asked me, I'm not sure what should I'm unable to do this. What should I do? It means you don't like it. You need to like it. If you like it, time to do it. Otherwise, So therefore, the meaning of which is the next is not just working hard. Effort means delighting in what you do. When you delight in what you do, when you delight in what you do, you will enjoy. The other day, after the teaching, some of us went to see some old temples. Then, when we were returning back, coming back, we reached on the road where we are able to see very clearly this Thiksey monastery. Then the Geshe said, "Let us take some photo." Taking some photo. Then we told each other, "Let us take some photo while we are jumping." Then we all started jumping, including me. I could hardly lift my leg, but I jumped. I jumped. I want to show you this. I jumped, and so it's such a small thing. What? You can show. I have it here somewhere here. Some of these small things make you so happy. Show the one we have did best. See, but it's how you take the photo. It's not that I jumped very much. You see. So the point that I'm making is, we're all ordinary human beings, right? So therefore, there's occasions like this. Oh, that degree, degree. She is like giving initiation, right? So the point that I'm making is that make ourselves happy, and there you just jump few days, then like we are over happy. It's important. Yesterday also I was very happy. I attended this. Uh, let me see. He's the best singer in Ladakh. She was singing, then all many other senior scholars sitting side by side. They were all singing. Very beautiful. So like that, in life, sometimes should know how to cheer yourself, be happy. Then of course, don't just waste your time. Occasionally, it's really important to make your mind happy. So the point that we were reading was that there's nothing whatever easier through acquaintance. So through becoming acquainted with small harms, I should learn to patiently. Even in our ordinary life, we encounter so many problems. Who has not seen this to be so trifling suffering, such as the bites of snakes and insects, feelings of hunger and thirst, and with such minor things as rashes? We feel unhappy, right? But you have to tolerate. And similarly, I should not be impatient with heat and cold, and rain, sickness, bondage, and bleeding. For if I'm then the harm they cause me. So you always get a little bit harm everywhere. So if you have the right frame of the mind, you will not be tormented by it. For example, the next verse says, "Some when they see their own blood, for example, in the battlefield, some when they see their own blood, become especially brave and fight. But some, when they see not one's own blood, but when they see the blood of others, they faint and fall. This is the difference between the brave and the coward. In other words, this is dependent upon your mental state. These reactions come from the mind being either steady or timid. Therefore, I should disregard harms caused to me and not be affected by suffering. Right? And especially, even when the wise are suffering, wise here means the bodhisattvas, right? The bodhisattvas. The bodhisattvas, the wise here means the bodhisattvas, when they encounter suffering, their mind is very lucid and undefined. So when war is being waged against the disturbing conceptions, much harm is caused at the time. For example, how can you say that I shouldn't have any problem when I go into the battlefield? So similarly, when you practice, you will have to encounter some inconvenience, especially when you're young. You know, if you're young at this young age, you want to join, with other young people, enjoy this, enjoy that. If you sacrifice some of this, inconvenient, right? For example, if you start doing some practice, not joining the other group, then other people might say, "Why are you sitting here like?" Right? But you're not doing like an old man. You are being wise. Always. That also doesn't mean that you completely cut off from others. But don't enjoy all the time. Do more important thing. If not practice, then at least you study, pass your exam, and do those more important things. Right? But you can't be serious and sitting all the time because that will make you physically sick or mentally tired. So occasionally you go out, whatever. Right? It's important. So even when the wise are suffering, their minds remain very lucid and indifferent. What is the victors warriors are those who, having disregarded all suffering, vanquish force of matter and so forth. Common warriors slay only corpse. In the ordinary language, when you go to battle and kill people, this is really like the death. Sooner or later, people are going to die, so you don't have to kill them. A similar statement is found in another text by Nagarjuna in his text called Letter to the Friend. Uh, or say, there's a beautiful verse where it says, somebody who's able to control your senses into the sensual objects, there's a real hero than those who go to the battlefield and kill people, right? And then there are other good news with the experience of suffering. Furthermore, suffering is good quality. Through being disheartened by suffering, your arrogance will come down. ठीक है ना? जब तक कोई नहीं होता है तब बदमाशी करता है ना? ये राजा है, मैं रानी है, मैं ये है, वो है करके. When you encounter some problem, then you and also when you encounter suffering, when you see the sufferings of others, compassion arises in existence. And when you encounter suffering, you realize that this is the result of my negative deed. Therefore, shun. Joy is found in virtue. And if you say, yes, all this sounds true, but this person is then the next line says, as I do not become angry with the great source of suffering such as jaundice, then why be angry with animate creatures? They too are provoked by conditions. Although they are not wished for, these sicknesses arise, and likewise, although they are not wished for, this disturbing conception possibly arise. Without thinking, I shall be angry. People become angry with no resistance, and without thinking, I shall produce myself. Likewise, anger itself is produced. So, in short, all mistakes that we see and all the various kinds of evil arise through the force of and you don't have any control. They do not govern themselves. And these conditions that assemble together also have no intention to produce something together. Neither does their product have the intention to be produced. This is when we make such explanation, then some of the non-Buddhist schools they try to answer it by saying, no, 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 it is not. There is no control. There is a controller. For example, the Sankhya school, they say, that which is asserted as primary substance and that which is included as self. Since they are, so they say they control us. So they control us, but at the same time they say they are permanent. So this is answered by saying, since they are unproduced, permanent, how can that arise? Do not arise after having purposely thought, I shall arise in order to cause harm. And if they are unproduced and non-existent, then whatever wish they have to produce, harm will also not exist. Since this self would permanently apprehend its objects, I mean, if it is permanent means it's not apprehending the object one time. They will always be apprehending that object. It follows that it would never cease to do so, right? And furthermore, if that self were permanent, it would clearly be devoid of action, just like space. Anything permanent cannot do any action. So even if it met with other conditions, how could this unchanging nature? Because they said that the self and the primal substance they are permanent, they are unchanging. If that is so, then other factors and conditions also they will not change. Even if when acted upon by other conditions, it remains as before, then what could actions do to it? Thus, if I say that these conditions act upon permanent self, how could the two be causally related? Because a permanent thing cannot act upon a permanent thing. Hence, everything is governed by other factors, which in turn are governed by others. And in this way, nothing governs itself. And in other ways, I should not become angry. They are like apparitions. So phenomena are like apparitions means phenomena do not exist as we think. They do not have independent existence. They arise when multiple causes and conditions come together. This is just like what you watch on the television screen. Watch on a television screen and see a nice movie or something that's happening. Do you take that as real? No. So what is happening in our life is exactly like what you see on the television screen. Similarly, when you look at a mirror, does the mirror have the intention that I will make sure that his face is reflected in me, right? But because of coming together causes, conditions, things arise. So similarly, all these unpleasant things they arise because of coming together of many causes and conditions. Then he tries to answer this by saying, if everything is unreal like an apparition, then who is there to restrain with anger? Surely answer. This is the answer. It would not be inappropriate because even though things do not exist independently, but they exist conventionally. Like one very good example is your dream. When you are sleeping and dreaming, sometimes if you get very strong nightmare, do you feel unhappy? Do you get scared? So your dream is like the reflection on the television screen, but you get affected, right? So therefore, even if you do not exist independently, inherently, you can be affected. So therefore, there is a line which is a very powerful line, which says, "Jumat chunamla karse jumat chunamla jumat abur samjena jumat abur samjan." To those phenomena which is like illusion, if you contemplate things that they are illusion, and if you meditate this understanding of illusion, you will get enlightened. Jumatavr samchedi, Jumatavr gomchena, Jumatavr sanyati. Milam tavi chu namla, Milam tavr samcheni, Milam tavr gomchena, Milam tavr sanyati. To those, this phenomenon which is like a dream, if you're able to think they are dream, and if you meditate that they are dream, you will get enlightened like a dream. So like a dream means they are there, but not as you thought. You thought they will be there, having independent existence. That is untrue. One very good example is, for example, if you are now 20 years old, in the past 20 years, you experienced so many things. You must have cried many times. You must have loved many times. You must have jumped many times. You must have did so many things. If you make a movie out of it right now, it is 20 years long movie, right? But today, if you look back to those experiences that you had in the past 20 years, they are just a memory. They are just like they are similar to the dream that you had last night. Karchibar. What is the difference? And our remaining life will also go like this. And the purpose of understanding this is when you understand things like illusion, things like dream, you will stop developing attachment, craving, grasping. For example, if you see a bubble early morning, if you see a bubble or a dewdrop on blade of grass, you develop attachment. Huh? Why? And similarly, when you see something moving on the television screen, you develop attachment. Sometimes possible because if you're somebody who likes this actress, when the parents, wow, sometimes, but not less likely, less likely. So your mind is unnecessarily. I remember the day very well when it came out in the newspaper that Michael Jackson coming to India. As soon as young boys and girls, especially girls, when they heard about, wow, Michael Jackson coming. This is really happened. I'm not joking. And there was another news saying that he can. Many girls were fainting. Can you imagine? And in fact, if you go to these big performances in America and other Western countries, when Michael Jackson comes on the stage, similarly there are other, when they come on the stage and start dancing, they shout, and some young people they shout, they get so paranoid. Some of them really get. So there are ushers, people there who are there that many of these young people will fall. They'll be sick or whatever. They'll be taken out. So such is the state of mind. Mind is so powerful. Illusion is so powerful. Many years back when I was young, I was visiting Washington. Then there is a theater where they show movie on all kind of aircrafts. What do they call it? Airspace Museum, exactly. Airspace Museum. So I went. It was a 3D show, you know. So I sat on my chair, and then the aeroplane started flying. You know, it's as if it's really coming near you. Like, oh. And it was so powerful. I could not just keep on looking at it. The effect of that illusion was so powerful. I really have to close my eye and hold tightly on the chair. I experienced it, right? So we can be very strongly affected if we don't understand the reality. Right? I understand. So it would not be inappropriate because conventionally they exist. I must mention that independent of anger, the stream of suffering is severe. Therefore, when seeing an enemy or even a friend committing an improper action, then by thinking that such things arise from conditions, I shall remain in a happy frame of mind. For example, just like your children, small kids, becoming very naughty and then breaks one very nice cup. You will get a little bit upset but not get too angry by realizing this is what the innocent children do, right? So similarly, we are innocent children, and Buddha calls us my children. Even if you have a professor's degree, whatever, Buddha calls you my child, my child. If things were brought into being by choice, meaning that if you really have the control, then since no one wishes to suffer, suffering should not be there to anybody. But it is there, that means you are unable to control it. Through not being careful, people even harm themselves with thorns and other things, and for the sake of obtaining women and the like, they become obsessed and deprive themselves of food. क्या क्या नहीं करता हम लोग. When your mind is crazy, there is like no limit to what stupid things you do. I want to get this girl, this woman. She is not responding me. I'm so sad. And then finally she decides not to go with you. Then you think about committing suicide. So stupid. As if she is the only girl in this whole world. Wait, lollipop. In the previous group, I used the word lollipop. They say, "Mommy, I want a lollipop." The mother says, "Lollipop is not available. I'll give you something." No, 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 lollipop. We are really like that. Stupid mind, right? So because of this narrow-minded craving, we are suffering unnecessarily. And there are others, some who injure themselves through the unmeritorious deeds of hanging themselves. अपने आप को फांसी पर चढ़ा देता है। देश के लिए नहीं, हाँ, some jumping from the cliffs, eating poison and unhealthy foods. So if when under the influence of negative emotions, people will even kill their future selves, how can they be expected not to cause harm to others? Right? So therefore, when you see such people, even if you develop compassion, even if I cannot develop compassion for all such people, So the arisal of these conceptions set out to try and kill me and so forth. Last thing I should do is become angry with them. When people do such things to themselves, even then, if I'm not able to develop compassion, how come that I become angry with them? So therefore, you should check carefully why these people are getting angry. Now, if getting angry is in their nature, even if it were the nature of the childish to cause harm to others, it would still be incorrect to be angry with them. For this would be like begrudging fire for having the nature to burn. If it is their nature, don't get angry. There's nothing you can do. For example, burning is the nature of fire. So why should you get angry with fire? If you're burnt, if the fire burns you a little bit, will you use your fist and put it in the fire? No, because you know this is nature. Want to be careful. I should distance myself, run away, right?
Gisela, suicidals like hanging, jumping from the cliff, they were like even common during that era. Like it is not a modern disease. Like during the time Shantideva, people were.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because at that time also there is very strong presence of negative emotion. Way of doing things are similar everywhere. It's not a new thing. And then sometimes, unfortunately, even committing suicide becomes a norm. I know one place in Japan, there's a very beautiful rainfall. So many young girls who are unhappy go there and commit suicide. There is also one road in when you go to Kinor, there is also one place in the road where they say unhappy, mostly girls come there and commit suicide, jump into the river below. When once His Holiness visited, they informed this to His Holiness and requested His Holiness do some prayer meditation there. I'm sure it must have helped. And His Holiness was able to help many such problems. Just below the library where my institute is, there is a Tensing Soda. There's a small factory kind of institute where young Tibetans are taught to, make images and the different kind of sculptures, things like that. So there was a time when everybody like felt disturbed. There is a ghost there. So they invited His Holiness. Then His Holiness jokingly said, I went there, but I don't see the ghost. So all I said was mentally, sincerely said, you ghost, if you're around here disturbing everybody, don't do that. It's not good for you. You'll earn bad karma. So with loving kindness. And it is said that since then, no disturbance. There are so many stories like that with His Holiness. So many. So we need to know that. And once he visited the Tibetan settlement in Orissa, where the farmers had a lot of difficulties because of lots of elephants coming there, destroying the field, the crops, everything. Then when His Holiness visited, they informed this to His Holiness. Then His Holiness said, from which direction? Said, that direction, that direction. Oh, like this? Oh. Never came after that. And we have compiled a book with this very mysterious phenomena actually happened with His Holiness, written down by one of his secretaries. We published it. I think at least one or two books, two, three books we published. So normally it is the Buddhist way of practice that you should never talk about your achievement, realization, special power like that, because this might distract people. And but these days, I think it's important to know so that people are able to develop more faith, right? So these things are possible. So if it is their nature, don't get angry. But if it is not their nature, but they temporarily get angry, it is adventitious, then also don't get angry. For example, you don't get angry when the space is covered by smoke. When the space is covered by smoke, do you get angry with that smoke or get angry with the space? It's temporary. The smoke will disappear and go. And even if the fault are temporary, in they who are the nature, in they who are by nature reliable and stable, it would still be incorrect to be angry, for this would be like begrudging space for allowing smoke to arise in it. If I become angry with the yielder, that means one holds the stick, although I am actually harmed by the stick. Then, since he too is secondary, being in turn incited by hatred, I should really be angry with his hatred. So that means if somebody hits you with a stick, you don't get angry with the stick, but you get angry with the person, supposed to be, quite intelligent in making this decision, because the stick did not come by itself; it was used by the person. So therefore, I'm very clever. I get angry not with the stick, but with the person. If this is your logic, then he says, then you should go to the root. The person is also wielding the stick, using the stick, and angry because of the negative emotion. So try to go to the root, the negative emotion, the anger. Why you select some in between? You neither go to the root, the anger, nor go to the stick, which directly hit you, but catch the person in between. So in that case, they say that dogs are a little bit more clever than human being. If you threw a stone to the dog will first run to the stone, then probably come back to you. So they are more clever than you, right? Time Kavalen, what is time? Oh, Garuda session. Question and answer. Time is flying like anything. Yeah,
A very good morning, Geshe. My question is, I'm little confused about the word sentient beings. Can you explain basic characteristics of sentient beings and
all those that has a consciousness, a mind,
yeah.
is called sentient being.
So, Geshe, like microorganisms like bacteria.
That I don't know. They may have. They may have.
Okay.
This is a question that has been bothering me for a long, long time. But I did not like really sit down and try to find out. Right?
Okay, Geshe.
So actually, we had a lot of discussion with His Holiness and some of the scientists about the demarcation between a sentient and non-sentient. Then they conclude by saying that anything that has the capacity to move. There were two qualities. One, being able to move. One probably has this consciousness, but that part is a little bit different, right? So that is sentient being. So the Buddhist description is anybody that has a consciousness. Now whether this small, micro, big animals, they have consciousness or not, I don't know. We have to. And in fact, there are also some trees. In one sense, they extend their root and looks like they are moving. And there is one book about tree where they say, for example, if you export one particular plant from here to America alone, just one plant, that plant will not survive. The reason they say is because if the plant feels very lonely and die, if you export many similar plants together, they survive. They did all kind of experiments. So I don't know. Yeah.
Tashidele Geshe. My question was, if there is a being who is suffering in pain, and it can be safe, what to do in situation? Many people suggest that you should kill it rather than let it suffering it. So, what to do in situation, Geshe?
That's a very tricky situation because this you are talking about what we call as mercy killing. They call it mercy killing. That means if somebody has been in coma, for example, or somebody who's really, as you said, suffering long, long time, there is no really cure or something like that. Then some say, okay, let us practice mercy killing. Because if you kill a person like that, not only that person will suffer much, but that relatives and others who also has to spend a lot of money, time, a lot of problems. So finish, just finish it for her. But from Buddhist viewpoint, it's very difficult to judge. But sometimes it really appears that person is suffering, but he may have some capacity to do something good also. And sometimes, some person remain in coma for a long, long time, then just like a magic, they come back. Very difficult to tell. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
Tashidele Keshele.
Mm.
Like we often, how did we came in being? Like we often talk about past life, present life, and karma, but how did it all started?
Long, long ago. Let's tell the story. Long, long ago, when men lived in the cave, something, there was something like so, so from Buddhist viewpoint, we say when it started, itself is a stupid question in a way. I'm not like saying this to you, but in general, they say, what do you mean by when it started? Who will be able to say this was the time when it started? It is beginningless. It's beginningless. But if you come to the specific, then I explained yesterday in the case of the experience of the intermediate state being after the death, you go into the intermediate state, and then in that intermediate state, you only have consciousness, no body. And then through the force of karma, your own karma, karma of parents, you go for a place. Then you see the meeting of the father and future father and mother. Then you go there, then you get stuck there. Then your mind becomes the mind of that egg and ovum that comes from the parent. But this is how life coming. That's one thing. But the scientists, they say, when many kind of, say, chemicals or many different substances come together, such things arise. So I don't know. So you should read this book, Universe in a Single Atom. This is discussed there also. Yeah.
And what about a atheist person?
Huh?
Atheist person, do they also come into this?
Atheist. No, it's not a question of your believing or not believing, right? It's not a question of your believing or not believing. They're real things which you cannot do away just by closing your eyes saying, I don't believe in it. It is there, right? They may not believe in it, but it is there.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I don't have a question, but when I was in 10th class, I got the opportunity to ask the same question to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, and he gave a very beautiful example saying that, do you know from where the water cycle has begun? So, with this example, he explained the soul, like about our soul, from where it has begun. There is no beginning, there is no end, just like the water cycle is there. Because it evaporates. That was a very beautiful example.
Krishna. Uh, we often see nowadays people getting more patient with the closer ones and perhaps nicer with other people, and which I think more prevalent in among the youth. What do you think happens then?
And
Impatient among the closer one, the closer with the families, and more nicer with others. What do you think?
very
It's
good
with a
question.
prevalent situation or problem
I
among
love
youth.
this. I love this. Very good question.
What do you suggest?
I demonstrate this actually.
Take it?
Okay, if I am living with my parents, relatives, rightly mentioned, I'm not in a very good mood to talk to them. Even if you give answer, you give just short answer. But suddenly the telephone rings. Oh, how are you? You're so nice. Suddenly, oh, hello, how are you? That's the problem. That's the problem. So therefore, we say Dharma practice is not easy. That's why I earlier mentioned, think globally, act locally. You know, in your prayer, praying and saying, may all sentient beings be happy, may all they meet with the cause of happiness. Quite easy to say. But the trouble is your family, your next door neighbor, because you need to live with them, interact with them. Live with them means one person with negative emotion, another person with negative emotion. Living together, there will be a lot of problem. But if you're able to see carefully, things can change. Things can change. It's not that things can't change, right? So acceptance is also important. Then sometimes if something bothers you, then sometimes it's good to distance from there a little bit, right? So therefore, in terms of human relationship, it should be like, as I mentioned earlier in the first group, in terms of human relationship, it should be like your relationship with fire, with fire. If you go too close, it will burn you. If you stay too far away, you will not get the warmth. Warmth भी चाहिए ना, है ना? So therefore, you will be able to maintain the relationship much better, even temporarily. But deep down, you should have some affection, some love. Love is the glue that makes us stay together. So deep down, you should have that, right? And then also, that is easier said than done. But sometimes when you live with difficult people, you learn so many things. Like the place where you practice patience, right? And gradually, the one thing that you thought is very difficult, but when you get acquainted with it, it's not difficult. We already read that there is nothing that does not become easy. You get happy. So therefore, you should train in your practice of patience through various means. What we already read. Yeah. And also it depends, whether how much you are able to stay with that person or not. Depends on how much you really love that person. If you really love that person, then it is easier to help them. For example, let us say if it is a brother, sister, somebody who has really loved you so much, and now today that brother or sister is very sick, then instead of feeling upset, instead of feeling sorry, you will really enjoy to work with them, to serve them. I am so lucky. I got this opportunity to serve my brother, sister who loved me so much earlier. So when you have this frame of mind, then even staying awake for the whole night is not a problem. Because you have a clear sight of the goal. And if you don't have that frame of mind, then even just going near that person, you will get upset. Because you Not so much about the problem, it is your mind, mental attitude. Right? So training. Yeah. Okay.
Geshe-la, I was wondering this question since from a long time.
Hmm.
In the Wheel of Life, why Yama is holding the circle instead of Buddha?
But Lama,
Yama, the big giant
yeah,
man.
because we are not able to come very close to Buddha, but we do things which takes us closer to the Yama. So Yama got up and then the Buddha. You remember what I said? Buddhas cannot wash the sins of sentient beings and so forth. So when you end up doing things, you will be more closer to Yama than to the Buddha. That's one way. Another way is there's no person like with the fang, bearing fang, holding you. It's just so death, Yama means death. So everybody has to die. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.